Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Mind, Body, and Kadira. This is episode 2. If you did not see the first episode, go back and watch. In the last episode, we talked more about the mind. We talked about the different ways we can set up our year so that we can accomplish our goals. Those of us who are scatterbrained, we have so many goals that we can't really get grounded to reach them. It's going to help you get grounded, establish a routine and structure, and help you reach those goals. If that sounds like you, go back and watch episode 1. So I was at work today and I was having a conversation with one of my clients, and she told me that she went to the doctor and that they diagnosed her with beta thalassemia. I told her, wow, I was diagnosed with alpha thalassemia. Keep in mind, this client is also a nurse practitioner to be specific. Give her credit. But she looked at me after I told her that and she said, wow, like it doesn't even look like it. Like you would never know the way you live your life, the way you look, the way you carry yourself. You would never know that you have all these different things. And by all these different things, she means lupus, heart failure, and alpha thalassemia. I've talked about my illnesses before on my Instagram and other podcasts, but I really want to tie it into why it helps push me towards my goals and helps me achieve the things I want to achieve in life. So, just to jump straight into it, being diagnosed with lupus and heart failure and alpha thalassemia really helped me to be where I am today. Even though it was a bit of a struggle in the beginning, getting to know my body again, it really helped me to be where I'm at today, to have the health that I have, and to have the mindset that I have. So, I'm really excited to share this story. It is a story about how I almost died, and it takes a lot to smile about that. I remember different times where I told this story. I definitely teared up a little bit, cried, but we can talk about it. We can talk about it because we've learned from it and we've healed from it. So the time I almost died. This was back in 2021, I believe, definitely around those COVID times because there was just so many different restrictions I remember having to go through trying to get a doctor's appointment, going to the doctor's appointment, all these different barriers and tents you have to go in. Everything was just so prolonged. My aches and pains really started in during COVID. So during that 2020 time, like I realized that during my workouts, I was having chest pains. I was having difficulty breathing during my workouts. Just completely incapable of doing anything that would elevate my heart rate because I would just be in so much pain, and it would cause just an inability to breathe with that pain there. Like every time I would take a deep breath, it would hurt. I stopped working out. That didn't really help because then I fell into a bit of a depression because I use working out as just a stress relief and I love it. And I'm obsessed with just being healthy and looking good. So, not being able to go to the gym, a big part of my life, really affected me. And it affected my work as well. I eventually quit the job that I had at the gym I was working at because I was having a hard time even demonstrating workouts to my clients. I mean, the smallest movement would skyrocket my heart rate and give me the worst pain and difficulty breathing. So it was just difficult living, honestly. So being a personal trainer was not feasible for me at that time. So I quit my job. I was living off my savings, dealing with this illness, going to the doctors back and forth. They don't know what's going on. So many tests happening, dealing with COVID restrictions just really prolongs everything. And I was taking ibuprofen, Advil every single night, all day throughout the day, just dealing with this pain that I was having. I was going back and forth, to the doctor's appointments. And eventually, so the alpha thalassemia means that my blood doesn't create hemoglobin like it should. And hemoglobin is used to carry oxygen throughout your body. So that would make sense. My blood is not creating hemoglobin, the protein needed to carry oxygen throughout the body. So it's causing that chest pain, causing my heart to become ischemic, which means my heart is lacking that proper oxygen flow to keep it strong. I was having blood tests done every time I went. They said, hey, we've been monitoring, your blood, and we noticed that your hemoglobin is just slowly dropping lower and lower and lower, and we want you to go get a blood transfusion. I was very hesitant about the blood transfusion because I'm just like, there was all these risks and different things. You got to sign waivers. And I'm just like, I'd rather just, deal with this until we figure out what's going on. After going to the doctor again, she told me that you're going to feel so much better once we get your hemoglobin up, once you get some blood in you, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay. I set the appointment. It was a Monday. I believe it was like September 13th, September 10th. I'm not sure. I still keep the hospital bands just to remind myself of that day because, like I said, it's very important to me. It really molded the mindset that I have right now. But I remember it was a Monday. I went to the hospital to get this blood transfusion done. So I go in the hospital. I sit down for about 3 hours or so. I get like 2 liters of blood, if I'm not mistaken. Now, at this time, I've been dealing with this for almost 2 years. So, chest pain is normal to me. Shouldn't be, but the chest pain and discomfort was just so normal to me. So, I'm in the hospital getting the blood transfusion, and I'm having chest pain as I'm sitting there. But, like I said, I'm just having chest pain again, I guess. The nurse comes in to check on me and she asks me if everything's fine. How do I feel? I let her know that I was having chest pain, but I also told her that, hey, this might just be, how my body's feeling today. She lets me know that, okay, that's fine. She does her thing, whatever. She comes back when it's done. She comes back when it's done, doesn't check my vitals. And then she was like, okay, you're all wrapped up. She unhooks me. She takes out the IV and she sends me on my way. So I'm still having chest pain. Now keep in mind, I said any activity whatsoever would spike my heart rate and just give me the worst chest pain and difficulty breathing. So as I'm leaving the appointment, I'm walking to my car and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. Just walking to my car, having to exert all that energy to get there. I get in my car, I sit there for a second trying to just calm my breathing, calm my breath. And I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe if I just get home and I relax and I get into a comfortable position, I'll be able to feel better. So I begin to drive home. And as I'm driving home, I'm noticing that, wow, my breathing is just getting worse and worse and worse. Like I am just gasping for air, panting for breath in my car. So I tell myself, I'm like, okay, let me just go to the hospital. I lived in Dunwoody at the time, so the closest hospital to me was Northside. So I tell myself, okay, let me just drive to Northside. I'll sit in the parking lot. I'll relax a little bit, do some breathing exercises, and if I begin to feel better, then I'll drive home. But if I don't, then I'll go into the hospital. When I tell y'all, by the time I got off the exit and nearly got to the hospital, I was like, I am going in there because I'm about to die. At that point, I was panicking. I couldn't breathe. Well, I was breathing, like I was inhaling and exhaling air, but I didn't feel like my body was doing anything with the oxygen. Like the feeling that I tell everybody I felt was that feeling as if you're holding your breath, you're holding your breath, you're holding your breath, and then you finally breathe and then you get that relief feeling. I was breathing, but I was not getting that feeling of relief. I was breathing, but I still felt like I was suffocating. I'm panicking. I don't know what's going on. Like I said, it's during times of COVID. So I park my car, I get out my car, I go up the hill. If you know Northside, you gotta walk up this hill. And I'm thinking, I'm just about to lay right here. I'm just about to lay down, and if somebody finds me, they find me. But I was like, no, you're right here. Just keep going. Just keep going. So I kept going. I get in. Of course, there's a tent before the entrance. I go in there. I'm gasping for air. Now, keep in mind, I just left the hospital, so I still have like a little sticker on me that they give you. And if you work in the medical field, then you already can understand what I'm about to say. But I have this medical sticker on me saying that basically I was a person at another hospital. I walk in, I'm gasping for air. The nurse is like, oh, you need to put on a mask before you come in here. And I'm not even in the right state of mind to even, react to the attitude that she gave me. I'm just gasping for air. I'm telling her that I can't breathe. I can't breathe. She tells me, "Oh, you're just having a panic attack." And like I said, you need to put your mask on before you get your COVID all over me. Like I would never forget. She said that to me. Never forget. But like I said, I'm not focused on her mindset. I'm focused on why I can't breathe right now. I need to be seen. So eventually, I just put the mask on. She sits me in a wheelchair. She wheelchairs me through the tent to the actual entrance where the triage is, where they actually take my vitals. And I don't even make it that 10-second wheelchair ride to the front desk without pulling my mask off because, like I said, I already feel like I'm suffocating. Why am I putting something else over my mouth? It made me feel like I couldn't breathe even more. We get to the little desk with the other nurses, and then the nurse that wheeled me in, that was giving me attitude, she was like, "Oh yeah, she's having a panic attack and she just won't keep her mask on." So the other nurse, she puts the SpO2 on my finger, which is that thing that they check your oxygen on. You go to the hospital, they put that thing on your finger. It's called SpO2. And if you're a living, breathing human being that's completely healthy with no heart or lung issues, you should be at a 100% all the time, forever, all the time. Mine was at 60%, 62%, I believe. And me, with my previous history working in the medical field, anything below 95, we're like, er. Anything below 97, we're like, er. So for me to be at 62%, she takes my vitals. She sees I'm at 62%. They immediately go over the intercom and they're like, code blue, code blue, code blue. So I'm just like, yeah. Like, yeah, you're telling me to put my mask on because you think I have COVID. No, I'm actually dying. I'm in respiratory distress. So she wheels me to the back. I hope she feels bad and I hope she felt bad that day for prolonging my medical care. So she wheels me to the back in the room. She puts me in the room. People come rushing in, doctors, nurses, so many people, triage people trying to get my information. Keep in mind, I can't breathe. I'm still gasping for air. People trying to talk to me, ask me questions. I get in the bed. They tell me to take off my jacket. I take off my jacket. I remember a nurse trying to ask me, or one of the triage people trying to ask me what my name was. I couldn't breathe, so I like used my hands to mimic that. I wanted to write it down. I remember going to write my name down, and then I stopped, and then I just dropped the pen and I dropped the pad. I don't even think I could remember my name in that moment. So next thing I know, all I could say was, I had a blood transfusion. I had a blood transfusion. Like that's all I was saying, and that's all I remember from that day. It was like 3 p.m. on a Monday in September of 2021. That's all I remember from that day. So I wake up the next morning, or what I figured out to be the next morning, and I'm in a hospital bed. I'm in a room by myself. I'm in a hospital gown. I noticed that my arms were like strapped to the bed, and I didn't realize I was intubated until the nurse walked in. So like I woke up, I was looking around, I see a clock, and I noticed the clock, the hour hand was at 8, and the minute hand was like somewhere else. But I was like, okay, it's 8 o'clock. But the sun was still out. So it was during the time, like I said, September, where it was brighter during. It wasn't, the time didn't go back yet, so it was still bright during that 8 o'clock time. So I'm like, okay, is it 8 o'clock the same day? Because I got here around 3, or is it 8 o'clock the next day? I'm like, what's going on? So not even 5 minutes later, the nurse walks in and she's like, hey, good morning. So I'm like, okay, it's 8 a.m. the next morning. Okay, wow, what happened yesterday? Of course, I didn't say that because I'm intubated. Um, but she looks at me and she starts talking to me. She says, okay, we're going to turn off your breathing machine. We're going to see if you're breathing on your own and if you're fine. And if you're breathing on your own and you're fine, after about 30 minutes, then we'll take out your tube. And that's when I was like, oh wow, I didn't even notice. And then she also told me that I have a tube in my nose, and I was like, oh my god. So I had a tube helping me breathe going down my nose, and then I had a tube going down my throat through my mouth helping me breathe. And I was connected to a breathing machine. So she turns it off. She leaves. And just to run back a little bit, the reason why my arms were strapped to the bed, like I said, I have some history of working in the medical field. They do that because people tend to wake up out of their medically seduced state, and then they start to panic and they want to rip the tube out of their mouth. So they strap your arms to the bed when you're intubated so that you don't just wake up and pull it out your mouth because you're panicked and confused. They turn off the breathing machine. 30 minutes later or so, she comes back in with the doctor. The doctor lets me know that, yeah, we seduced you yesterday. Seduced? Sedated. Anyway, we sedated you yesterday, is what he said. And he let me know that, yeah, we did CT scans, we did x rays, we called your family, they were up here, you were going to die, but you lived. And I was like, whoa, whoa. And where was I? Y'all just moving me up and down, round and round, just being medically sedated, huh? Oh, okay. They moved me to another room. Once they take the tube out of my mouth, they took the tube out of my nose. They unstrapped me, of course. They moved me to the ICU where I could be monitored for a couple days, and then that's when they called my mom and let them know to come back to the hospital to come see me because they were there all. And I'm gonna tell you what they told. The only reason why I know this whole story is because my parents told me what was happening while I was under sedation. So I'm in the ICU. They let my mom know that I'm awake. My mom gets there probably 30 minutes later. I immediately start crying because all I could think about was how I was going to go home. My initial thought leaving the first hospital after I got my transfusion was to just go home and rest. And if I would have did that, I would have died. That's all I could think about, and that's what I told my mom was I wanted to go home. I was going to go home, but something told me just go to the hospital. My mother told me that okay, so I got to the hospital, they medically sedated me, and somehow they got into my phone. I don't know if I gave them the password, I don't know, but they got into my phone and they called my mother, and they let my mother know that I was in the hospital and I wasn't doing good. So my mom was like, she was on the highway, she had just picked up my sister from school. She said she immediately got off the exit, busted UE, got back on the exit, and went back up north to the north side. She said she called my father while she was in the car with my sister and let him know what was going on. He left work to come up there. So everybody's up there. At this point, it's probably, I don't know, everyone's up there like 8. It was nighttime, 8, 9, 10 p.m. I don't know when they got there, but they were telling me that the doctor said that it's not looking good. They said that I came in, my oxygen was at 60%, it dropped to 40%. They didn't think I was going to make it. They said my lungs were flooded with fluid, and that all I was saying was that I got a blood transfusion. Now, my mother, I was talking to my mom about my back and forth doctor's visits. She was helping me with some of the payments, with the copays and things like that, because I was just having so many that they were just stacking up. I'm talking about 60, 80, 50, 60, 80. Like, damn, like I was spending so much money going to the doctor. So she ended up telling the doctor, like, yeah, she told me she was getting a blood transfusion, but she never told me when or that she made the appointment. So the doctor was like, yeah, she had a blood transfusion and her body was rejecting the blood. So my body was trying to push that foreign blood out of my body through my lungs. So that's why when I was breathing, but the oxygen wasn't passing through my lungs into my body because it was so filled with fluid. Yeah. So fast forward a couple hours, or rewind. The doctor was like, she's not doing good. Say her goodbyes. She ain't gonna make it. Fast forward a couple hours, the doctor comes back in. It's like 2 a.m., I believe they said, and they were like, oh my gosh, she's getting better. We don't know how, we don't know when, we don't know where, but the fluid in her lungs are draining. Her oxygen is going up. She's getting better. You guys can go home. We'll call you in the morning when she's awake. They go home. They call them in the morning. They're coming up to see me. I'm in the ICU now. Fast forward back to the next day. They were like, yeah, they were just like the doctors were saying you weren't gonna make it. It's not looking good. Your oxygen was dropping. We were letting them know, like they were asking us questions about you. We are letting them know, like, what you do for work, you're a personal trainer, you eat healthy, you work out, stuff like that. So the fact that I was getting better, the doctor literally told my parents, like, the only reason she's getting better, my guess is because she's healthy, because she works out. She has a healthy body that's healing and doing what it's supposed to do in order to survive this moment right now. I have had multiple doctors tell me that the only reason you are alive is because you eat healthy and you work out. multiple doctors on multiple different occasions. I want to talk about how I felt in that moment. Driving to the hospital was very scary because to be breathing but feeling like you're suffocating is just a feeling that I can't explain. And it was just beyond scary. I pray to God that I never have to experience that again. When I was in the hospital, when they wheeled me to the back, when I was lying in the hospital bed and I was, initially there, the first 5 minutes, all I could think about was, this is where I die. This is how it ends. And all I could think about was how I don't have a successful business. I'm not a millionaire. I wasn't able to buy my mom a house. I wasn't able to buy my sister a car. Like, I didn't do anything that, well, I'm not going to say I didn't do anything, but I didn't reach my goal in life. I didn't reach that final step, that final stage. And I was just like, damn, like, this is it. With me having those thoughts in that moment and me surviving, I don't care if it breaks me, I don't care if it kills me, I don't care if I go broke. I'm going to do whatever it needs to take, and I'm going to remain consistent and persistent in my pursuit to my goals, because each day that I have to live is not going to be wasted. It's not going to be taken advantage of. It's not going to be taken for granted, because I didn't wake up that Monday morning thinking that I was going to die that day, or knowing that my life was at risk that day. That moment, going through that, really solidified that you never know what day is your day. So you better do something with them days that you have, because it could be tomorrow, it could be next week. So I hope you enjoyed my story. I hope I hit all the parts I wanted to hit, and you guys kind of get the gist of, why my mentality is so go, go, go and relentless, because we only got so many days. Nobody knows how many days they have left. So I'll see you next time on Mind, Body, and Kadira. We talked about mind a little bit in the first episode. We talked about Kadira in the second episode. So maybe we do a little body in the third episode. So make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned in for that, and I will see you next time.